Well, good afternoon and welcome to H360 Live. My name is Dave Duplay. I'm joined here in the studio, as I always am every Tuesday, with my friend, my colleague, my consigliere, Miss Courtland Long from Healthy h360. Courtland, how are you today?
I'm great, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. You know, that was one heck of a concert we went to last night, huh?
Oh, yes. We saw Beth Eunice perform at the Cutting Room. She was fantastic.
Yeah, and you know, she has an album out, right, called The Story. It's on iTunes, and she sang a couple of songs from her album, and she also played some new material, which I hadn't heard her sing before, and she was just over the top great. When she hit that James Taylor song, it was all over for me.
Oh, her voice is just amazing. I mean, she's so talented.
You know, one thing that is interesting is, you know, Beth is a firm believer that music brings everyone together. Everyone from different cultures, different backgrounds. And the words in her lyrics and her songs really do bring people together. It's really something special.
Yeah, there was really an incredible turnout on a Monday night. You know, I know she was a little worried about that, but I think there was standing room only in the back. It was packed.
It was packed, and it was standing room only. Well, you know, we've got a terrific show for everyone today. We have Sharon Manner coming in, and she is the founder of Ashrams for Autism, and she's doing some fantastic work. It's yoga, and she's doing it a very specialized program with people who are living with autism, and it's fantastic. You know, we met her at the New Jersey Beach Bash over the summer.
Yeah, such a fun event, and it was really cool to see Sharon's program that she's doing with some of these kids. It was a great day.
Yeah, it was a great day, and you know, that's one of my favorite events of the year, as you know.
I can see why, yeah.
We see the kids, and year after year, you know, we see their smiling faces, and they get to surf and do cool things. And this year, they got to work on yoga.
Yes, they did, and they also get candy from you.
Yeah, they do get candy. I may be unwinding all the good things that the yoga's doing. I'm not really sure, but I can't wait to get her in here because we have so much to ask her about her program and working with these kids. Such a fantastic thing. But first, as always, you know what's up?
Health tips.
Health tips, that's right.
Yeah, well, we have some great health tips today about social anxiety. And, you know, social anxiety can manifest in a couple different forms. One sign is perspiration, increased heart rate, the inability to focus, even sometimes assuming that the worst will happen is a sign of social anxiety.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's not one size fits all. Whether you get anxiety about your appearance or your job performance, or, you know, as you said, letting your mind run wild and thinking about the worst that could happen in a certain scenario. Social anxiety takes a lot of different ways and a lot of different people. But I think we've got some great health tips for everyone today on how to help manage that social anxiety. So, Courtland, what's the first tip we have?
Well, the first tip is fix what you're physically feeling. Now, if you are a person who bites their nails or bounces their leg when they're feeling very nervous, there are some great tips, some great tools that you can use to kind of counteract those things. And the first is to use control and exercise. And then another thing is to do some deep breathing. That's a really good tool to help kind of counteract some of these nail biting habits.
Yeah, so fix what you're physically doing is your tip. Mine is fix what you're thinking, right? Because as I said, you know, sometimes your mind really can take control and you get anxiety and you're thinking the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Right? And you kind of blow it out of proportion because you're anticipating the worst. But I'll bet if you think back on all the times you had anxiety and you said and you thought, wow, I really thought it was going to be the worst, and you dial it back and think back, it really probably didn't end up like that.
No, definitely not. You know, I know a couple people with social anxiety, and they really like this tip. They tell me all the time that when they're having a problem with their thoughts, like thinking the worst, that they really take a step back and they say, well, what is happening right now that is so bad? And they focus on that task at hand.
Yeah. So fix what you're physically feeling, right? Fix what you're doing.
Fix what you're thinking.
Fix what you're thinking, that's right. I may have jumped ahead of myself here. I've looked at my notes.
Yeah.
But I think I took your last one, and which is?
Fix what you're doing, you know. So this one is really great if you have nerves about public speaking, for instance. Practice is key, and if you practice, you'll gain confidence, you'll gain skills to deal with that type of environment. And then also try to bring some friends in. When you practice speeches or interviews in front of friends, they'll often give you some really good tips for what you're doing. And Dave, I have a confession. I was really nervous about doing this show when we first started about a year ago.
Oh,
but
Courtland. It's
Yeah.
me you're talking to over here.
I was, yeah.
Huh?
But we practiced. We practiced and things got better.
Okay, well, since we're putting it all out on the table, I will share a little story. I'll make it quick because, we've got a lot to talk about today. When I was first out of college, I had a really important job at a consulting firm. And I was on this assignment working in the state of New Jersey for the governor's office. And my job was to help pick out a case writing and brief tracking program for the Attorney General's office. And we went through all this months of hard work, and we finally decided on a package, and we get in to present the final thing, and the governor's sitting there, and the Attorney General's there, and I'm a rookie. And, I had not anticipated that I was going to be called on to speak. Well, lo and behold, I was, and I was unprepared. And boy, I sounded like I didn't know what I was talking about. And I did know because I did all the work. I mean, I was the guy doing the heavy lifting on picking the package, but I wasn't prepared and I didn't practice. And so it took me a good couple of years to get over that one misstep. So my advice to everyone is take Courtland's advice and practice, practice, practice. You know the material, stand in the mirror, rehearse it, and it's going to be, smooth sailing or all green lights, as a friend of ours, Mark, likes to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you got to practice. So anyhow, Courtland, every week we send our interns out on the streets of New York to see exactly what our friends, our New Yorkers, know about social anxiety. And this is a really great video here.
Yeah.
I've watched it a couple of times now, and there's some insights here that I want to share with everybody. But would you like to watch it with me?
I would love to.
Okay. Matthew, roll the video, please.
Do you or anyone you know have social anxiety?
Yes.
Yeah, probably like my brother.
Maybe me?
Yes, I know someone who does.
Do you have any tips or tools that helps you through stress at a certain point of time?
Go to the gym.
Not really.
Well, I listen to music and then like very soothing music or like and shopping, I guess.
Just to take time out and do things that you like to do and just like not worry about whatever's stressing you out.
Does exercise or fitness play an important role in your stress management?
Yeah, it does.
It does?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it gives me a clear mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It like physiologically it will, and it's supposed to, as long as you do it consistently.
Even though it's like after like a month I go back to gym, I work out for one hour, I feel like, oh, I'm toned. My body is back. So I feel very relaxed, and looking good is important.
How do you unwind from a stressful day?
Listen to music and then watch TV and chill with friends and stuff.
It's like okay for me right now because I didn't get into that life yet, so.
Smoke a cigarette.
I would like take a good bubble bath and then like put on moisturizers, put on like cotton socks, relax, Netflix, that's it.
Well, Courtland, what do you think?
Well, it was a great video. It seemed like almost everybody either had or knew someone with social anxiety.
They did, but there was a lot of good tips here. So some people went to the gym to help manage their anxiety. Music, right? We heard music.
Yes.
Listening to music played right into what we were talking about with the Beth concert the other day, last night.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure about the one guy's technique, though, of smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, but although it's not very healthy, we are all about real people, real stories, real life.
Yeah, well, I hope he can kick the habit.
Me too.
I mean, that's you'll feel much better if you don't smoke. And but we're not here to lecture today.
No.
Although I want to bring that to everyone's attention. Our interns did a fine job. We got a lot of good sound bites out there, and of course, New Yorkers, they're always willing to share their opinions, their thoughts. So all the way around, great video.
Yeah, wonderful job.
Well, you know what it's time for? Our favorite time of the show.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we have Sharon Manor in the studio today, and I want to give you a little background on her before we sit down and talk. So she is the founder and creator of Ashrams for Autism. This is such a fantastic program. You know, she has many, many years of experience as a dedicated yoga instructor and meditation experience. Her mission is to create a program where individuals with autism can work, play, and contribute to their community, have a lot of fun, feel healthy, boost their confidence all the way around. It is a win-win. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks
It's so
for having
good.
me.
It's so good to see you again. We saw you at the New Jersey Beach Bash. You had your mats laid out in the sand. You had everyone participating, and I was in awe. And I said, "This is someone we have to have on the show."
Well, thank you so much. We had a blast that day.
It was great,
It was
right?
so much fun, so much fun.
And the weather held off.
The
thank
weather was
goodness.
amazing.
Yep.
The surfers were amazing, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. We have a lot we want to cover with you in a short period of time, so let's jump right in and let's have a discussion.
Yes, well, Sharon, again, thank you so much for coming in. This is such a joy to have you. Can you tell us, do you have a personal connection to autism?
Yes, I do, and thank you guys so much for having me. I have a 24-year-old daughter who is on the spectrum, and not only do I have her, but I have 24 years of being around her friends and the families that involved. So yeah, I have lots and lots of it.
And so I suppose your daughter, she was probably the inspiration behind starting Ashrams for Autism?
She was, but they all were really. You know, I mean, it really came. It's a heart-inspired type of a thing. You know, I've watched, of course, my daughter grow up over the years, and watched the ups and downs, and saw how she responded to yoga, to mindfulness, to the yogic lifestyle with the healthy foods, and over time, I thought, we can create something that we can bring out into the schools and into the community that will help them all. Because this is not usually the approach. There's a lot of therapies and other things, which are good, but this is a very organic, healing type of approach.
Yeah, you hit on a good point about, the families. And, from the last several years of going to the Beach Bash, what I've found is that people gather there, and it is a big family, right? And the way that people interact and help each other out in that special day, and the way they work with the kids, and the way the community comes out, and then big corporate sponsors are there helping out, and you were there. I'm curious, so, I'm not a yogi, so let me put that as a baseline. But I think, when I think of yoga, I think about these different poses. I hear Courtland goes to hot yoga quite a bit. She comes to the office and talks about how I should be thinking about maybe doing it. And she's probably right, but there's also other things that play into your program, like meditation and some other things. What are some of those, and how does this all come together?
Well, yoga is a science, and it's an ancient science. It's been around for thousands of years, and there are, and I've studied it for many, many years with many, many masters, who are amazing healers, and pretty much, can just about, fix a lot of things, if you really attend to it. So what we've done is we've taken the particular parts of yoga that actually can work with those with autism. There's a lot of things in yoga, like hot yoga would be probably not good, because it would be too overstimulating. Some of the rapid breathing would probably not good. So we've found the things that key into calming the nervous system, that work with the different organs, such as digestion, which is usually a big challenge. And we've put it all together so that it's a systematic way of moving through it. It works with the endocrine system also. It's really quite it's quite an intricate science. People think it's just postures, but it's pretty amazing.
See, that's what I would have thought,
Yeah.
right? And so as I'm learning more, it's much more than that. It's a very holistic approach and lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. And the postures take care of the physical body, and on many levels the posture will open energy. Say, like if you had a hose and the hose was kinked, and say that water was your energy. You use the postures to unkink it so the energy flows in the body. So the organs are moving, so the oxygen's going to the brain. Then there's pranayama, which is breathing, which you talked about for social anxiety, right?
Yeah.
So breathing is probably the biggest thing that we do, because where your breath goes, so does your mind. Okay, so if you're breathing really fast, your mind will begin to race. If you take slow, deep breaths, your mind begins to slow down, and thus you can think a little bit more clearly. It's probably why the guy likes the cigarette, right?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, so it's really, and the breath work eventually begins to help you emotionally. So if you can control your breath in all circumstances, it's really a pretty powerful thing. And then meditation can be whatever works for them. My daughter, for example, comes home and she's naturally gifted at playing the piano. She can play anything on the piano, but she has this one song, and she'll come home and she'll close her eyes and she'll play it over and over and over again for like a half an hour. And what that does is it's just a one-pointed focus, and it makes your mind neutral. So, that neutrality is when you're then able to think clearly,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so cool. I want to ask you a couple questions about, your class format. A lot of the yoga classes I go to, have rows and rows of people. There's 50 people in a class. I am assuming your classes are a little smaller in size?
Yes, well, first what we do is, we develop this program over a lot of years, and it's not just me that teaches this program. We have a teacher training. It's 50 hours, and we're actually creating another 50 hours just to teach our teachers to work with parents. We're creating a parent program, so that's in the works. So in this training, I pull people, and I have a neuropsychologist that comes in. I have an ABA specialist, which is an educational person that works with the individuals with autism. And I have different yoga masters, herbalists. I have all these different people, and we all give these tools to the teachers. So then, and we also teach them about it so that they know how to work with all the different little things that are going on, because it's not just one behavior that they're dealing with. They could have auditory issues, they could have visual issues, they could be averse to touch. So the teachers are taught to really discern, to be able to adapt to the individual. We keep the classes really small so that it's not overwhelming, because life's overwhelming for them anyway, and really overwhelming. And we usually have an aide or a parent or somebody that knows them to be in the wings just in case. It's a very safe environment.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Okay.
And I don't want you to laugh because I bring this up almost every show. Are you also into aromatherapy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Now we're
This is like, I even have them in my bag in there.
When you walked in, I smelled a very pleasant smell. It was almost patchouli-ish or sandalwood. But my thing is lavender.
Oh,
Now follow me with this, because I see Courtland
Yep.
laughing, grinning. And I talk about this a lot on the show. I spritz my pillows down at night before I go to bed with lavender oil.
I love it.
Yeah. And about 10 minutes before I get in the sack, I give them a couple of spritz, and I get in, and it just relaxes me, and I fall right to sleep. I'm a little weird because I probably get 3.5 to 4 hours of sleep a night, which I don't really set an alarm. I know when I'm tired, and I know when I sleep, and I'm out. I can get right into the bed, and I'm out quickly. And then I'll wake up, and I'm refreshed and ready to go. But that lavender just does it for me. And in fact, I brought some in for Courtland. I was out and about, and I saw it, and I bought a bottle. And so I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to use it yet, but I now have somebody that's with me on the same page.
Well, it's another science. It's powerful. It's really powerful. We have, we really studied it, and found what helps with focus, but more importantly, what helps with with real bad anxiety. So, you know, we talk about social anxiety. I mean, social anxiety for somebody with autism is, you know, usually it can end up in a meltdown, you know, and it's so extreme. So we have a couple of oils. One is vetiver, that is amazing, so calming. And we, like, maybe we'll put a little bit on the back of the neck or on the foot. And we also use it with reflexology points on the feet. Especially for adrenals. So, you know, we train our teachers on how to use it. We'll diffuse it. The only thing that we're really mindful of is that some of the kids or young adults, they get reaction. They'll have a reaction to something that is related to smell. So we always ask first, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's love
really
it.
good.
Oh, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Kidding? It's like the best. Peppermint wakes you up. You know, it's like, and there's some for digestion. It's like really.
Huh. Okay.
I have peppermint body wash and peppermint shampoo.
There you go.
You know, that's why I'm such a fresh, bright-eyed person in the morning.
See?
Oh, that's why we do the show at 1 o'clock, actually. Right?
She's into it. She's just not telling
I
me.
know.
She likes it.
It's funny how often it comes up. Oh, well, let's circling back to your practice. I was poking around on your website and I found this awesome video where there's a young man, I think he's sitting with his mom, and he's talking about how this practice really helps him with stress. So are you seeing this a lot with everyone, that they are incorporating these tools that they're learning in your classes to deal with stress every day?
So much. I mean, that's really one of the things that that is just amazing, you know, and it's like, it makes me a little, you get emotional because you know that they can self-regulate with it. You know, they use the breath work. We use specific breath work that we teach throughout the class. We just keep teaching it over and over again, where you take a big deep breath and you open up the lungs and you lift up and you inhale, and then it's a big ha, and bring it back to center. And what that does is it stimulates this nerve in the body called the vagus nerve that goes up to the brain and stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system that tells you to relax. And we do that over and over again in class, but they use it and they help each other. You know, when they see somebody who's like struggling or, you know, breathing fast or starting to go into an unresourceful state, they'll go, it's okay, let's take a big deep breath together, you know, and they use it. The other part is that over time, you know, this is a practice. Yoga is a practice. So if you practice this breath over and over again, someone that, say, has meltdowns, what happens in the body is the cortisol is released, but it stays in your body. You know, the event might end, but you still have all this hormone in your body. And over time, something else might happen that's like nothing, and you still react the same way, because it's still in your body. You guys, I'm sure, with your health shows, you heard all the time. You know, so if you practice breathing and continually calming the nervous system, it's going to be the opposite. So we're training them to calm themselves down, and they get it. Other people might not even get it, but they get it and they teach it. It's really amazing.
It's interesting. So I would imagine school districts would invite you in and work with the teachers and the administrators, because these children are in the school district, and if the anxiety level's high and they have a meltdown, sometimes if you don't bring them back down or bring them back to center, as you say, right, it can be really traumatic, and not only for that child, but for the other students in the classroom, their friends, seeing that. Are you going around, I mean, has the school districts in your area contacted you, and are they on to what you're working on?
Yes, we're in a lot of private schools in New Jersey. We're in private facilities, but we now have public schools that are contacting us, and we've begun to train their teachers. And New York City, we've worked in a few of the schools, and you know, the thing is that we need more teachers. So we're in the midst of trying to train as many as we can, and we need a little more funding, because we pay our teachers. We pay our teachers to go and teach. If the school can pay, great. If they can't, we still pay it. You know, so we have a lot of output. Kind of can't keep up, to be honest with you. It's like it's growing, and you know, and we're keeping up thanks to the amazing people that work in our organization who are so amazing. And you know, we're now really trying to get this parent thing going, where we can, because I know I live this, and you know, maybe 90% of the time I can deal with it. I can deal with it all. 95, you know, and everything else that happens in life, because I have other children and other things, and it's because of yoga. And I do it the second I wake up in the morning, and I don't really always do the physical. I mean, it's really the breath work, and it's the meditation and getting your mind to neutral. Once you're at neutral, you know, then you can think it out. So we're working on it, and it's happening fast. We have this organization called Get Fit that is just wants to team up with us, and they're all over the country, and they want to put our programs into their programs for disability. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So that brings me perfectly into my next question, is the community that you're trying to create through Ashrams for Autism. Can you talk a little bit about that, you know, and how you're bringing this into other places?
Well, we have the goal of creating this teacher training. We did that, and we train teachers, and we're in schools, and it's growing and growing and growing. The big goal is to serve the population post-21, because you know, they have pretty rich lives. They have these programs, and at 21 they age out, and a lot of them don't have anywhere to go, and parents may not have the resources. It's tough, and there's been different things on 60 Minutes, I think, and they've interviewed some of these families, and you know, and I live it. I know the biggest fear I had was when Carrie turned 21, but I love being around her, and I have some resources, so it works for me, but others don't. So we want to build a place that is ashram inspired. So a yoga ashram is a place, maybe in India, where people go to heal. You know, the food is organic. There's a routine of meditation and yoga and breathing. They work together. They grow food, and it's a peaceful community. You know, it's based on the Sanskrit word ahimsa, non-harming. So everything's done in a non-harming way, and you feel that vibe the second you get there. And in that environment, you know, and this would be inspired, you know, we would be adapting to being near, may even be in a city, who knows, you know, where, you know, they'll be able to thrive and live with dignity, and, you know, and reach their highest potential, really. Like that's like the big goal.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, Courtland and I see it, exactly what you're talking about how there's so many programs for the under 21 person that is living with autism, or their families, and then there seems to be a pretty big drop-off. So we're definitely with you on that. I want to touch on one point that you mentioned. You said you're going to be starting a program for parents.
yes.
And so how is that going to work? Is what you're trying to do is to educate the parents, so then when they're at home they can work with their child and you know, and the breathing techniques and all of that?
It's going to be twofold. We're going to be teaming up with an organization called Education for Excellence, and they're already teaching parent programs in schools all over New York and New Jersey. And you know, their philosophy is to pretty much teach parents to begin to witness and listen and connect and be aware. One of the challenges with autism is, like, it's a really high divorce rate. You know, I mean, really high, and it's tough. It's tough on families. It's tough on siblings. You know, it can be a very rough road for many. So, you know, that component we're going to add in, plus all of the tools, the yogic tools. You know, waking, and they're simple and they're free, which is really nice. You know, to be able to wake up in the morning and have, you know, a little toolbox of things that are going to carry you throughout the day. You know, it's like we were talking before about hot yoga. I mean, you feel great after you go to yoga.
Yeah.
You know, and it lasts. You know, but if you do it as a practice over and over every day, pretty much the things that were really, you know, bothering you in the past kind of just, you know, taper off. You're able to witness yourself. You're able to discern and realize how to react. And then, most importantly, you're able to get to heart center. And when you're there, you know, you can really find that compassion to deal with just about anything,
Yeah.
you know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sharon, we're almost out of time here, but I know so fast. How can people get more involved with Ashrams for Autism?
Well, you can go to our website, ashramsforautism.org, and we need teachers. You know, we need money. Donate would be great. You know, it's expensive. We have we teach a lot of classes every week. We have a lot of teachers out there now. We have probably double the amount of programs waiting for us, and we have this big goal to be able to build these facilities that, you know, that would be places where they can live. So, yeah, we could use any help, and it doesn't matter, you know, like even it's just a little bit. That means like so much. So,
yeah. Well, I'm sure, you know, hopefully we'll get some people to come in and help out a little bit.
thank you.
Yeah.
That would be so great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for coming in. We'd love to have you back as your
I would
programs
love it.
roll out. We'd love to keep in touch, and we obviously will look forward to seeing you at the beach bash, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that's always
Oh,
good fun.
yeah. They're amazing.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Well, thanks
Thank you
again.
both. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Thanks for coming in. We'd like to thank our viewers today for tuning in, and we'd like to thank our sponsors for making this all possible. Remember, all of our episodes can be found on demand at healthyo360.com, and our podcast can be found in the iTunes Store. Well, Courtland, I think you have something to say about our social media.
Oh yes, well we love social media, and we're all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. We use the hashtag #RealStories when posting, and we would love it if you would do the same. On behalf of Dave Duplay, myself, and the entire Healthyo360 family, we hope you have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you next week when we're chatting with Susan Weiner, the author of Diabetes, 365 Tips for Living Well.